Hi everyone, I'm Foreht. I'm a specialist in the post-war and contemporary art department at Christie's. Welcome to our Southampton Gallery space. I'm thrilled to share with you some highlights of our current exhibition, Grace Hartigan, No Rules, which is closing August 8th. We're just going to take a tour through the galleries. I'll show you some of my favorites in the show. And if you guys can come see it before it closes, we'd love to have you here. So starting off here, I'll share a quote from Grace that sort of inspired the title of the exhibition. She was quoted saying, "No rules, I must be free to paint anything I feel." And so that is really one of the key elements of this exhibition. Her sort of, fast-paced rise in the New York art scene in the 50s, her unwillingness to really change or alter her practice to sort of fit within the norms. She was very much involved in the avant-garde, abstract expressionist movement in the 50s, but still remained true to her sort of fascination with figuration. And so we will see those sort of key tenets come into play really with every work and at every period that is explored in this exhibition. So first, we're starting here with two amazing collage works from 1957. You'll see in the lower right corners, they're inscribed EH for East Hampton. So she was in the Hamptons when she made these works. And they're they touch upon what Grace is known for as being really fascinated with the pop art movement and in many ways a sort of pioneer of pre-pop art. And so her fascination with media and the way that infiltrated aesthetics and the fine art movement is very much at play here. But what you also see are the colors and the moods of the Hamptons landscape, very much inspired by water, by nature, by her surroundings. And so we are thrilled to have these here to sort of touch upon how she was directly influenced by the Hamptons landscape. Another amazing example from 1956. This painting is called East Side Peddler. It is a fantastic, bright, gestural painting from really one of the best years of her career, ultimately. And it is very rare to have a 1950s paintings of this caliber, or really at all, in private hands and in this exhibition. So you'll see here, there's very much, figuration is very much at play, working directly with sort of abstract modes of reference. She's quoted in her diaries saying, she was sitting in her East Village apartment, looking out her window, and I'll paraphrase, it would be really interesting to capture what I'm seeing outside my window. And so what you see here is sort of the hustle and bustle of the city, vendors, workers, the movement of the streets, really sort of inspiring her to sort of capture that vivacity that comes from city life. So we're thrilled to have this work in the exhibition. Coming along here are three other amazing examples from the late 50s and early 60s. We'll start here. This work is from 1959. It's called Kansas. It was referenced in her 1990 monograph published by Bob Madison as Whereabouts Unknown, and it has really been sort of a rediscovered work that had been off the market for several decades. It's referenced in this monograph because in the late 1950s, sort of on the cusp of the 60s, right before she actually moved to Baltimore, she was very much inspired by landscape and sort of nature's colors and vibrancies and textures. And what you see here is just an extraordinary interplay of colors and layers and gestural painting, which you can see then take place in the 1960s as well. And you can just sort of savor her hand in these. She has just amazing depth perception and amazing use of coloration. So they're really just extraordinary to see in the flesh. Over here we have a collage from 1960. You can see here the way that her collage work sort of played directly into her realized paintings as well. The use of layering, the use of gesture, the use of material to sort of capture a mood. They're very much it speaks to Grace's deep, deep dedication to the process of painting. And so it's a fantastic example as well. Taking a walk through here, I'll show you another section of the exhibition. So we'll start here with this wall. Some amazing highlights from the early 1950s. We have two abstract works on paper from 1951 and an amazing still life. It's called Still Life with Blue Wall from 1953. This work was also referenced in her published diaries from 51 to 55 and was included at, it was sold through Taille in New York City, her original dealer, and was included in the same exhibition that the painting Persian Jacket was, which was soon acquired by the MoMA in the mid-early 50s. So it's an incredibly historical work. And what I love about this hang specifically is that you are seeing the ways in which she was deeply dedicated to abstraction, but still exploring the ways that abstraction and coloration could play into more figurative or realist works. And so you have the ultimate contrast, but also really a celebration of the many ways that Grace continued to explore and push her practice. Now coming here, we have two works from the mid-40s, so right when she moved to New York City. Early works, you can also see her playing with this idea of figuration and abstraction, just fantastic use of color. The yellow really pops. And what I like is that you can then come to these late 60s collages and see some of those same elements of gesture, of movement, that remain true to her practice, from the 40s through to the 60s. So we'll take a walk over here. So this work here, Articulations, it's from 1968. It's a large-scale anatomy lesson painting. She was moving to Baltimore in 1960 with her husband, Dr. Price, who worked at Johns Hopkins. She was, removed from the limelight in a lot of ways, and I do think that changed the trajectory of her practice and what she was inspired by and what she was working with. But what's so fantastic about the anatomy lesson series in particular is that you can see her immediate inspiration from the sort of medical surroundings that she was working with. So Dr. Price had a vast collection of anatomy drawings, and these paintings really sort of, you can see direct inspiration from these drawings to create, abstract yet figurative compositions that play with what the human form looks like, what that can be interpreted as in an abstract sort of frame of reference. And all the while, she's using fantastic colors, great layering. You can see her brushstroke at every turn. And it feels like again, a real celebration of what she cared about most in painting, and this process about, the celebration of the paint. So that is our tour. I hope that you all can come see it in person, and it has been a real honor to be able to sort of explore Grace's work and bring her legacy here to the Hamptons again, which I know is, top of mind.